Monday evening. It's the 22nd of January. If you are just with us, we're live on the Facebook page. You can listen on the app, you can listen on the website and on your smart speakers as well. And good to have your company. And it might be, the back end of January now, but we're going to turn our attention to cricket on the show. We're going to start by talking about the Indoor League and success for Nayland, but let's welcome back to Pure West Sports. For the first time, I think, for a good year, 18 months or so, we last spoke to Keri Chahal from Cricket Wales. He's with us now. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. Good to be back on.
Excellent stuff. No, it's particularly good to talk about cricket on what's been a chilly last few days across the county. Fraser's back with us now as well. Hi, Fraser. How are you?
Not too bad, Ben. Working hard yet. Some of us have to, but they've let me out here for 20 minutes, providing nothing breaks in the sporting world while I'm on. So,
good stuff. Yes,
that we carry.
We'll touch wood. There's no breaking sports news in the next 15 minutes or so, then, Fraser. And you can stick with us.
Brighton Wolves at the moment, mate. So I can't see anything exciting.
Good stuff. Well, Gordon's in feisty mood. Let me tell you this Monday night. So, we'll crack on with the cricket. And Fraser, maybe you can actually start with this, because we should say well done to Nayland, shouldn't we, retaining the indoor title?
Surprise.
Yeah, of course. Nayland winning the Pembrokeshire Indoor League for probably about the 96th time in a row, it seems. But, it's been a positive campaign, actually. I'm sure we'll come on to this with Keri now. 2 full leagues, much more competitive. Nayland actually beaten this year for the first time in a long time, which is healthy. They won't mind me saying that. And Division 2 coming to a conclusion tonight as well. So a women's league up and running, that's still going. So that actually brings me on to my first question, Keri. Great to see you again. And obviously your job now, it's not a summer job anymore. It's 12 months around with cricket. The indoor scene, what are your thoughts of it on the state of it in Pembrokeshire and nationally as a whole?
Well, you touched on it, Fraser. In Pembrokeshire, we've gone from strength to strength. We've got those 2 leagues. The women league has come in and it's grown. We're fortunate we've got an absolutely outstanding facility to use, and I think the individuals who are running the league have taken it to the next level. I think Patrick Hannon from Nayland, he's actually live streaming some of the games that have come on and watched it all. But yeah, I think the old saying, death and taxes, Nayland win the indoor league is probably right at this stage. But listen, I've watched them play. They go on now to the Wales qualifiers, where they play the winners of the Swansea League and the South East League. They are growing and they're strong. But Nayland always seems to have the right mix of players, the right experience, the right tactics. The games are close, but they always get through, which is brilliant. And they usually kick on again then, don't they, in the regionals?
What sparked the uptake, do you think, Keri? Do you think it is the attraction of a facility like Nayland's? How key is that? Or is it the fact that maybe players and clubs are cottoning on to playing the indoor game can actually really help you come the summer?
I just think it's a great sport. It's an hour of your time. These dark winter nights, I think cricket is taking a bigger step. We're punching our weight around, against other sports. And I just think, some of the timings that people and clubs are still turning up. We've got a Sunday league, which isn't the ideal timings, but the league in Swansea is going from strength to strength. So I just possibly think it's the game. It's a carryover from the summer. We pack everything into 20, 22 weeks in the summer, and then there's latent demand for it. And if we put the opportunity on, we've seen it in the women's indoor leagues. They're even bigger than the men's at the moment. We've got a Carmarthenshire-based league, 2 Pembrokeshire divisions, a Swansea-based league. There's 2 leagues in the east. So it's just going from strength to strength. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that, the development of the women's game, specifically in Pembrokeshire, but you've mentioned across the area you cover, Keri. That's really good to see, isn't it? And actually the standard is improving all the time in the women's game, and interest levels in Pembrokeshire in particular are really big now.
Oh, absolutely. I think I started back in 2016, and one of my first meetings was in Pembrokeshire. I sat across Sam Rossiter, quite forlorn in Hook. There was Hook and I think Burton were left. And the women's game in Pembroke has been such a tradition along with the men's game, but it had hit a void. So I can remember speaking to her and I was just saying, listen, let's just try to be half glass full here. Stick at it. Within a year, the ECB launched the softball festivals. We then had more funding to go into secondary schools. And look where we are now. We just, I did a quick bit of cards of a lovely tweet that went out recently. we've got circa 200 clubs in Wales,
Wow.
right, across Wales, and just over 100 now have got structured women cricket. And we've got like divisions across Wales. I think there's out of the 100, about 120 teams. So you're now in the minority now as a club if you're not working and growing and structuring a women and girls scene, which is brilliant. Really, you can't and Pembrokeshire are always at the front end of the women's game. In all fairness.
Yeah, Gordon.
Yeah, going away from the women a little bit, Keri, what about the whole cricket as a whole, junior cricket? I do see there's not many county matches that seem to be happening years ago. They don't seem to have that many. Are you concerned about maybe not playing enough in schools or the clubs not pushing it hard enough? Do you think, or are you happy with the numbers there at this present time?
Well, this is a typical misunderstanding, and I did my research before I came on the call. We do now for the last 3 years audits of the club specifically, so the data that gets driven from the clubs. We've got 25 clubs in Pembroke, right? Out of the 20, when I first started, and we're very fortunate in Pembroke. The local authority backed sport. And they part fund a role for a cricket development officer, which Martin Jones is on in Pembroke, and he helps me a lot, and he does a lot of the work on the ball face. But we've got 18 out of those 25 clubs have now got junior cricket. The last 2 years, absolutely. And when you think of that, and we're talking to Fishguard this year about starting All Stars and Dinos. So the junior cricket has grown. I think where you've missed, and you've probably missed a gap here in your understanding, county cricket has been replaced the last few years with pathway cricket, which is a different stuff. I don't look after it, but the pathway, is Pathway West with Pembrokeshire and Carmarthenshire have merged. But the amount of cricket that is happening at the very younger level, from we had 23 teams in the under-9s. The under 11s, we've got 17 teams, 15 teams in the under 13s. We've also tried to be, in all fairness, Martin's at the forefront of this, as flexible as we can, where because of the demographic, as we head further west, we haven't got the numbers in population, but we've allowed a bit of flexibility where clubs can amalgamate players. Obviously, we're trying to keep standard sensible, so you don't create super teams. But yeah, absolutely, we're seeing that growth from 9s to 13s over the last few years, which hopefully we'll see the benefit coming through now into clubs' second teams and third teams going forward in the next couple of years.
Fraser, just come in just one sec. One thing I wanted just to ask Keri as well is we've seen quite a bit of innovation in Pembrokeshire in terms of the tournaments. Indoor cricket is continuing to thrive, but we've seen T20 cricket as well. And you mentioned the junior setup there. How important is it that that local cricket, and in Pembrokeshire in particular, but across the area you cover, does continue to develop to attract players to play slightly different formats? We've seen 100 games played in Pembrokeshire this year as well in that format. Do you think that's important?
Absolutely. So I celebrate the tradition, and there's probably more tradition in Pembrokeshire cricket than anywhere else in my area, and we should celebrate that. But moving into coloured coding last year from the Pembrokeshire County Cricket's AGM was a big step. Juniors went into the coloured cricket. We've got a version of the 100 and T20 competitions, which aren't affiliated.
I
keep an eye. They're not under the Pembrokeshire cricket, auspices, and quite rightly, they've got enough on their plate. But you would never turn those other opportunities away. So there's a little bit of support in the background. We keep an eye on it, make sure that it's safe. But absolutely, if there's people who are willing to organise that kind of structured cricket and there's a demand for it, let's go. Let's just go play.
Phrase.
Very, very positive actually to hear the numbers that you produced there. I wouldn't have realised that about junior cricket. Nice to see a positive spin on it. Actually, it has tended to be a bit doom and gloom when we've spoken about it in recent times. But one area where I think no doubt we have got shortages in Pembrokeshire is qualified umpires at the moment. And I wanted to ask you about this. Firstly, is this a national problem? And is this, and I'm not trying to detract from anyone who does this now, it might be something I even do myself one day, but is like the revitalising of senior cricket affecting umpires? And I don't necessarily mean that as a negative, because these age group sides are providing the chance for people to play longer, go deeper, and there's some good cricket being played. But is it almost having a counter effect when it comes to producing officials?
Yeah, the challenge is there. You're absolutely right. I think the big growth areas of the last few years have been the very young kids who are coming into the games with All Stars and Dynamos, the women's game, and the senior game has become huge. Pembrokeshire has got his own senior setup. I know the lads. I think 50s, 60s. I think 4 or 5 Pembrokeshire guys are going off the Wales 60s. Richard Harris is skipper the team, and he has done for the last 4 or 5 years.
We've spoken to them on the show. Yeah.
What do I do? It's good for your mental well-being. It's good for your physical health as you get older. I'm to blame as well. I'm stuck in that 50s program as well. So, I often thought that I would go into umpiring, and so would a lot of the guys who were playing. But the issue is that, I would say that that's having an absolutely direct impact. How do we resolve it? For me, and this is just a personal view, it's not a Cricket Wales view, so, I have to caveat that. But the umpires are of a certain age, and, they do get expenses in inverted commas. I think we should look at probably those expenses and make it a little bit more attractive, because as you get older, perhaps, that extra bit of cash to help you in your semi-retirement. So you have to think outside the box. And the minute you mention that in amongst the clubs and in amongst league committees, I just dropped the hang. You're bloody joking. And I'm thinking, well, listen, guys, we got to create a bit more demand. Because at the moment, everybody's carrying on playing.
Yeah, no, it's interesting that, and I don't think it's not just a Pembrokeshire problem, is it? That Fraser raises there. It's across the board, isn't it? Getting more people to get involved from that level.
It's interesting because I think what's happened recently, the ECB have recognised this, and they've decided to take the very grassroots of this problem on themselves. So there's 5 courses that are being put on by the ECB that we're promoting. One is in Neyland on the 18th of February. When literally they're trying to recruit new grassroots umpires, and what I mean, but it's still the same market they're going to. We've still got those guys who are playing, and they're not saying let's increase the expenses. It's just another way of trying to fight that issue we've got. So let's see how it develops.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to finish really, Keri, by looking ahead to what's to come, because it's not a million miles away. In fact, I'm pretty sure teams are going to be having indoor nets soon. Fraser, you can confirm that, can't you?
I can do, yeah.
Your whites are out, aren't they? Yeah, absolutely. So what from a Cricket Wales perspective?
But they will be out.
from a Cricket Wales perspective then, Keri, what do you do with clubs in the county and across South Wales getting ready for that new season to start?
Oh, listen, our remit has become a lot wider than it ever has. There's clubs are becoming more diverse. Facilities are becoming more. We need to get the facilities up to standard. Yep. So, really speaking, governance is huge. We can't get away from safeguarding, so that's a big driver that everybody needs to be safe. Keep being innovative. We're still trying to drive junior cricket. We're still trying to drive the women's game. The men's game this year. Lanfey are looking to enter the second team. The Pembrokeshire Cricket Club are looking for the third team. We're still seeing that growth at that level. We've got 25 clubs, and I didn't think that we'd remain at 25 clubs with COVID and everything else. And each of these clubs, there's challenges, but a lot of the clubs are looking to, create another team. So listen, we're here, and that's the big thing. Our relationship on the ground is key. That we're always half glass full. I hope you can hear that from me in the way that I got the passion for what we're doing. So literally, we're promoting the clubs. We're promoting. The only thing we can't control, other than the big support, is the weather. And I just hope that we get time to prepare good wickets, and the season is just nice and dry, because we had 2 halves of the season last year. First half of the season, we couldn't get enough water on the grounds because it was too dry. The second half of the season, it just
made it tricky. Gordon will tell you that the biggest innovation in Pembrokeshire that he's a big fan of, won't you, Gord? No draws anymore, eh?
You brought it up again, Dan. Every conversation we have is on about this, Keri. No, I like win-lose cricket, Keri. Simple as that. I'm not a fan of the draw. I'm not. And I think Pembrokeshire have benefited from it, from bringing it in last season anyway. Or is it the second season? Might be the second season they've done it, yeah.
I'm with you on that, Gordon.
Cheers, Keri. I'm glad somebody's with me.
I grew up with draw cricket, right? I grew up with draw cricket and I loved it.
Yeah.
But the difference was we could bowl 15 overs per bowler. So when Ben was in at number 6 and wants to block 20 overs, no, we'll bring Gordon.
You've seen Fraser play, yeah?
So you could knock somebody over. But as soon as the game became, 9 overs a bowler, and you'd have to find a 5th bowler, you couldn't turn to your quickie or your number 1 bowler.
Yeah.
But in every cricket we're watching, even Bazball, guys, how many draws have we seen in Test cricket at the moment? We're not.
The other issue while you're here, Keri, we're talking cricket, I will go a little step further. In the lower divisions, I think it's a little bit long, especially with the youngsters coming in. The youngsters that have been learning their cricket, they need to be able to play with the guys who've got experience. But I do find that they should have a shorter version because the kids get so bored if they're not bowling, they're not batting. We need to encourage using them first instead of the experienced guys going in. And, you've got to have the balance, I know. But it's important that we educate them and bring them through so that they enjoy their cricket on a Saturday afternoon. And I think in the lower divisions, they could do that a little bit more to entice the kids to stay instead of going to the beach or whatever they're going to do. Keep them in cricket. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Gordon, the good thing we've got across all our leagues, all clubs have the opportunity to, if there's a club that you're part of, to actually table those. And I think I've actually been at the AGMs since I started, and that conversation comes up, and there's pros and cons around it.
Of course it is.
They've absolutely, dropped some of the divisions to less overs. But I think the education piece is, I've captained our second team for many years, and I've given up some results to make sure the kids are having, stay on, Fraser. I know you've been hit. We'll change the field just to give that, and that's the education piece. I think those win at all cost captains need to look around them and perhaps just understand it's more
nail on the head there. Nail on the head.
Yeah. But then listen, we can only give that directive. It's called good practice.
Yeah.
All captains and coaches, have this as part of their training. Whether they take it forward, you see yourself in other sports, and football and rugby, there's win-it-all coaches that you see.
Yeah, especially when there's a medal at the end of it, they see that then. Yeah.
Well, listen, we're probably going to have to leave it there. But talking Bazball, Keri, we've got the Test series starting later this week, England in India, and I think we said this on the show last week. In terms of a Test series abroad, it's a brilliant one because you can wake up, have breakfast, and watch some really good Test cricket. So England to win out there, do we think it's going to be hard? Isn't it? Going to be hard.
The thing is, it's 5 Test matches, and will Bazball work on those wickets? Because I know what India will do. They'll make it like they did last time. They had turners with the new ball. I can't really smash the ball out of the ground when the ball is turning that much. It'll be really interesting. I don't think England will change their philosophy. They're too far down that road. They're just going to go hard all the way.
Yeah. But
it will be interesting because I think India have left off one of their best seamers. Sammy's not even in the squad because they took 4 spinners. So that just should give you, some idea of the way that the tracks could be playing. So,
I remember watching it out there last time. Joe Root took 5 for 8, didn't he? One was in about 3 overs.
and that's where we haven't had the strength of late is in our spin bowling departments. Yeah. So you're asking me putting me on a spot. I think
it'd be tough.
The best we'll get is probably a draw if we can get a draw series, but it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see. Well, listen, Keri, thank you. We could talk cricket all evening, but it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show, and we won't leave it so long next time to have you back as we get ready for a new season in Pembrokeshire and beyond. So thank you.
Can I just thank Gordon and the rest of the team, the Sport Pembrokeshire team, the amount of stuff you're doing on Facebook, on your websites around all sports really, but cricket, you know, my sport is brilliant. You know, I'm forever sort of reading up on. So thank you for all the efforts you guys put in as well.
Kerry,
And
thank you
Kerry,
very much indeed
if
for
you're
your
still in
time.
with the Wales 50 selectors, mate, just tell them 10 years and I'll be on.
There we go. Yeah,
And
Fraser
I'll play
marking his
draws,
card.
whatever.
We're going to take a moment. We're going to come back for the final part, and we're going to look ahead to Pembrokeshire's rugby side getting back together for a game on the 10th of February. We'll do that next on Pure West Sport this Monday evening.